Card readers. We've all used them, but have you ever wondered how this convenient piece of tech works?
All the time.
Great, let's get into it. Card readers, sometimes referred to as key fob readers, or as we like to call them, just readers, work using a technology known as radio frequency identification, otherwise known as RFID. For this system to work, you need three things. I know some people say you need to only do this. Men only say three by doing this. I have never done that in my life. Anyway.
I'll do that. I've been
three like this?
I've been counting more from this side lately.
Oh, you're so weird.
I count because it's easier than trying to count like.
In the movie Inglourious Basterds, it gave the guy away because he did this, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of this.
Drei Gläser.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the bar scene or in the pub underneath. Yeah.
For this system to work, you need three things. An access controller. This is the brains of the system.
Okay.
It's basically a computer. All access control devices are connected to the controller, and its primary function is to regulate who can access specific areas based on predefined rules and permissions. Next, you need the reader, which is what we're talking about here today. It's often installed near a door or a gate, and it constantly emits a low-power radio signal. And lastly, you need a key fob. This is a small, typically round device that you can attach to a keychain, or sometimes they come in a ID badge format. They contain a tiny chip with a unique identifier and a tiny antenna. When you scan your key fob, a three-step process is initiated. First, there's communication. When the key fob is brought within proximity of the reader, the key fob becomes wirelessly powered by the reader, similar to kind of like think of a wireless charger for your phone. And the reader will detect the RFID tag inside the key fob. Next, you have authentication. The reader sends out a signal requesting information from the RFID tag in your key fob. The RFID tag in the key fob responds by sending back its unique identification and other data that is stored in the chip. And third, and finally, you have an access decision, which is made by the access controller. The reader sends the data that it got from the tag to the access controller, and then the controller decides if access should be granted or denied based on a predefined set of access permissions.
I keep my key fob in my pocket, and yesterday I was visiting the courthouse. I was a juror on a trial and going through security. I had to empty my pockets into a tray, go through the metal detector, and then retrieve my stuff. But I forgot my key fob in the tray. And the security guy says, "Hey, excuse me, did somebody forget their AirTag?" And he held it up, and I was like, "Oh, that's my key fob." And he was like, "Oh, it's a key fob?" And I'm like, "What the heck is an AirTag? Probably some Apple product or whatever it is." Yeah, I knew it. Sounds like an Apple kind of a thing. What is this?
The AirTag?
The AirTag.
AirTag is similar to a key fob, but I believe it uses Bluetooth. Could be a little bit wrong on that. I believe it uses Bluetooth, and basically you can program it to you. So say you have an AirTag and you want to monitor your backpack or something like that, right? Okay. So you throw an AirTag in there. If your backpack gets stolen and your AirTag is hidden in there, if somebody's running down the street with it, anytime it comes in contact with or in proximity to somebody else's phone, an iPhone, they communicate to each other, and you can track your AirTag. Interestingly enough, Android is also joining that. I believe it's something with Google where they're joining they call it their Find My network. I haven't done enough research to know if they're going to link the Google network and the Apple network so everyone can find everyone's stuff. Now for a more detailed look at the reader. Readers are typically made of plastic or metal. We kind of prefer ones that are made of plastic and metal. Gives it kind of a rigid feel and a sense of quality about it, where it's a little stronger and pleasant on the eyes. They're typically powered by 12 or 24 volts. The reader contains a control unit, a radio frequency module, which constantly emits an electromagnetic field, which we talked about previously, And this electromagnetic field is created by a series of copper wires that typically run around the outside edge of the reader. A lot of times we'll run into people where they try to hold their fob right there on the edge of the reader. Just a quick tip, whenever you see a reader, just kind of aim for the center of it. That's the best place to put your key fob. And when your fob is placed within range of the reader, which is typically 1 to 3 inches, the electromagnetic field powers on the chip inside your key fob, and the key fob then sends its identification data to the reader, which we talked about a second ago. At that point, the reader processes the data and sends it along to the access controller. Some key fobs are able to shunt their own coil, which means they're able to turn the power on and off, basically, which modulates their electromagnetic wave sent to the reader. And this allows the key fob to kind of add its own message sent to the reader. This is used in some more complicated scenarios, which we're not going to go into. Typically, a key fob, when it is powered by the reader, it just dumps all of its data to the reader, including its fob number, which allows the system to grant access.
So to make sure that I got this straight, 3 parts.
3 parts.
Okay, so first part is you need an access controller.
Yes.
Which for us generally means just a metal enclosure box, let's say yay big.
Sure.
Has something in there, a power supply that powers the whole system, powers the controller that is also stuck in that same enclosure, but it also powers the electric lock and any other, the reader and the various peripheral devices. Okay, so we have this metal box. Is to plug in somewhere. We call it the back-end controls that could go into an electric room or really anywhere, but it gets mounted on a wall. And it has this control board inside of it that you connect the reader, you connect the electric lock, you connect the door sensor, maybe an exit button. If you have like a buzzer underneath of a desk to unlock a door, that's connected. Like this is the main brain of the whole thing.
Controls the whole thing.
Controls the whole thing. Okay. And then, and that's actually what's connected into like an internet router or the network. So when you are doing this like cloud-based system, you're actually looking at that controller, that control board. And if you have a bunch of doors, you end up with a bunch of controllers, one per door usually. Okay. And then, but we're talking about readers, which some customers might refer to as a keypad just because it has a pin code or a keypad on the front.
Or a pin pad. Or
they might refer to it as a keypad, that's fine. But it still reads a key fob.
Correct.
As well. A lot of people think it's like a reader or a keypad, but it's like if it has a keypad, it's also going to read the fob. Okay. And so that gets connected to the controller, likewise, which is what we're talking about here. And that has that copper coil around the outside. And like you said, a lot of people, they want to scan it on the edge. No good. Has to be in the middle. Yeah. Cool. And then you've got some fancy key fobs, but your traditional key fob, your RFID key fob, actually also has a copper around the edge connected to a tiny little chip. When you put it within that field, that electromagnetic field, it powers up and then just starts sending its number, which that reader then sends to the access controller located wherever. And then that says, unlock the door, yes or no.
Yep.
And it sends a message to the electric lock, which then pops open and in you go.
If you do have a keypad on your reader, the access controller can be programmed to make it so you need to swipe your key fob, it sends that data, and then you also have to put in a PIN code. So it's
card
2
plus
forms.
PIN. Okay.
Card plus PIN.
Or a key fob plus PIN.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, I should mention, some people have questions like, do I have to use a key fob? Can I use a key card? They both work exactly the same way. Yep. It's just about form factor, which would be just the shape. Do you want it in a key fob? Most people prefer key fobs. They're more, you can stick them in your pocket. They're harder to break. You can usually wash them without damaging them. A key card is easier to snap or crack or whatever.
Similar to a credit card. If you stick it in your wallet, it's going to get all.
It's convenient to stick into a wallet. A lot of women just don't have a wallet in their pocket like men do. So it's kind of hard to be useful for both men and women. I think that the key card is more useful when it's also a badge. So what some people will do is ask for just blank key cards, which they then print their badge info on because they have the badge printer and they're just the same size as your badges anyway. So you can get them, the ones that we have, they have the little, cutout where you can put the lanyard and you can clip it on or your pocket or whatever. But yeah, they work exactly the same way. They got the same little chip in them, same little copper around the edge. They're the same price, and they're not the same as an AirTag. Different technology. Are we done with this video?
We are done with this video.
So if you enjoyed this video, please like it so we know, and share it to your friends now.
Bye.
All right, so what are we working on today?
Today we have a video about card readers.
Oh, dude, I've been waiting forever to do a card reader movie.
How you liking your ginger chunks?
I like it. It's got weird looking stuff in it, which it always does. But I'm just like, is that going to know all my teeth?
Yeah, I'll let you know. But so far, so good. That looks horrible though.
Tastes good.
Do you want to? I don't know if that would be cheesy or not. If you're like, yeah, and I'll be like, great, let's get into it.
No, it's not. I mean, it is, but let's do it. What was the sentence?
Oh, it's card readers. We've all used them, but have you ever wondered how these convenient pieces of tech work?
I wonder this all the time.
Yeah.
I wonder all the time.
Yeah.
I was just wondering that the other day.
Card readers. Cool. Card readers. I'm glad we keep doing it this way.
Speaking of key fobs, I was recently visiting the courthouse. I was on a jury trial, and
Maybe you want to say you were a jury on a trial.
I was in a jury trial.
You're like, I was on a jury trial, which sounds like...
Some trials don't have them.
Right, but you were a juror. You were a juror.
The Rur Juror has a limited release next week.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't know they had a release date for the for that movie.
So
Anyway.
I was a juror in a trial.
Yeah. Or I was recently part of a jury.
I was going to
on a
jury
trial.
duty. I'll just say I was doing jury duty.
There you go.
Speaking of key fobs, I keep my key fob in my pocket. And yesterday, while serving my jury sentence, fuck.